the broadband. So we have here in the room a quorum.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have two members who would like to participate remotely. Mr. Jaquith contacted me some days ago. Waldo, would you tell us where you are and why you're not here?
Sure. I'm in Wilmington, Delaware for work where I'm helping a state agency procure a new computer system over the course of a couple of days.
I'd like to move that we allow Mr. Jaquith to participate in the meeting. All those in favor?
Y'all are muted right now.
I was trying to fix your back, whatever, you know what I mean?
I appreciate it.
Yes, we are
Okay.
off mute. Yeah.
So we just voted you in. Trevor, I think you're online as well.
I am.
Yeah. Yep, there you go.
Would you give us the particulars of your absence?
I am at my residence in the Whitehall district, and it's for medical reasons.
Very good. Thank you, sir. I'd like to move that Mr. Henry be allowed to participate remotely for this meeting. And I see a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Mr. Henry, you are in the meeting as part of our group now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you both for making the effort to participate. Really appreciate it. Next item we've got on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Hopefully you have all had the opportunity to take a look at the agenda. Are there any changes anyone wants to make?
Move adoption of the agenda.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adopting the agenda as proposed, say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing no opposition, the agenda is approved. Now we got brief announcements by authority members. I'll let the folks in the room go around the room, and then we'll just call you guys on the who are remote. Anyone here in the room have announcements? No. Trevor?
Nothing.
Aldo?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I'll take us to our public comment period. This is where members of the public, either present in the room or attending the meeting online, have the opportunity to address the authority for up to 3 minutes. Is there anyone who would like the opportunity to do so?
Nothing online, Chair. We have one attendee remotely, Robert Soper, but he has not raised his hand, so.
Okay. Well, then we'll move on. Next item we've got is the consent agenda, which really is just the financial report.
Move adoption of the consent agenda.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Consent agenda is approved. Now, we've got 2 sets of meeting minutes that were issued. Bill, have you received any substantive comments or corrections to those minutes?
There was one that could be considered substantive.
Tell us what it was.
It said that we were transferring $34,000 when in fact it was $30,044. So
Oh, yeah.
the draft minutes had the wrong number, and Richie found that for me, and I corrected it.
If you got to come up with the extra $3,000 out of your pocket, you'd notice that. So that would be substantive. Yeah.
So I fixed that.
All right, good fix. Anything else?
Just minor things.
Well, I'd like to move to approve both sets of minutes.
Second.
We have a tie for the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, minutes are approved. And that brings us to old business. Body 2021 update. Mike, do you want to take the lead on this?
I'll take the lead on this. We have a signed letter of intent, as the board recalls. The Brightspeed presented us a letter of intent on how they intended to finish off Body 21. That letter of intent was sent through a couple of rounds of changes, and it made its way through. The chair signed it. It was sent to DHCD, and they accepted it and the project has been extended to June 3rd or 4th, 2024. So the project is in actually its third extension. So it's extended to June of 2024. I didn't bring the letter, and it's not in your packet, but the letter of intent has some clear guidelines on what Brightspeed is intending to do. The key there is the 10 additional locations, mostly on Gilbert Station Road. And the latest update from Brightspeed on that is that they're working on getting their permits. Their goal is to have these activated prior to June 2024. And certainly we can expect that with fiber in the ground around the area, it should be a pretty straightforward build. Last on that was the 29 locations that were extracted from the original mapping. Brightspeed has sent a letter or a postcard to those addresses, and I included an example of that in the packet. So we're writing to inform you, whatever. The indication is that they would be included in BEAD. Frankly, I wish I would have seen this before it went out, but we haven't heard anything from any of the 29 residents. The reason I say I wish I would have seen this is I would have rewritten that last paragraph a little to make it a little bit clearer. But it's not a planning grant. It would actually be a deployment grant. So the money that would be put forward connecting these 29 locations would come out of BEAD deployment funds. So
I think the last little bit was intended to give those folks some hope, and
yeah,
they would have hope no matter how it was
Right.
worded. So I don't think they've been substantively confused on this.
yeah, they won't. Yeah, exactly. Good point, Chair. Okay. Any questions on that? 21.
No questions on 21.
Okay. Appreciate it. Dennis Reese is here. If we have questions, I'll go through these really quickly. In my opinion, my overview of how TJPDC and Firefly have been working together is exemplary. The type of work that they've been doing to make this project successful is really quite remarkable. I'm very happy that things are going really well. And it's taken a load off of my shoulders, thanks to Dennis and Lori and others. So just have to say that publicly. We did have some questions about railroad crossings, and we think those are coming to a successful conclusion. A couple of meetings that Firefly has had with the rail pros and Norfolk Southern are leading to more efficient action on those railroad crossings. And you'll see a little bit more on that. The Dominion, we had talked about sending a letter in support of Dominion's middle mile project, and that was sent into the SEC, and the SEC is currently considering those submissions. So it looks like things are going well with that. They're not coming back and saying you got to stop all work. Dominion Energy is doing their work while the submission has gone in. So a little bit off kilter, but things are going well. So Firefly, has done a great job keeping the public informed. And one of the big changes that they've recently made is they've added in this declaration or this definition of what the seasons are. So fall 2023, everybody thinks that once I'm in the fall 2023 scheduling mix, then that means by the fall of 2023, I will be connected. Well, first off, the question there is, when does the fall of 2023 end? And it's 12/22/2023, and that's when connections will be starting. So hopefully within that time frame, you'll know when you can expect connections to start. So connections can happen up until 12/22/2023, but also can move into the prior months as the project itself starts, and then based on how much work has to happen on your particular build, if you've got a 3,000-foot driveway or a 2,000-foot driveway, not very many people have a 3,000-foot driveway, there may be challenges getting you connected during that time frame. Is that hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, everything's going pretty well. And so looking forward, you can see how the definitions for the rest of the project are coming along. So there've been a lot of questions about this, and I hope this helps clarify what it means to be in that connection section.
Conveniently enough, they use the same definitions for the seasons that turn up on our calendars too. So they,
Yeah.
fall ends when fall ends, which is, 12/22 this year. So yes.
Yeah. Yep. So there's been a lot of questions about the Red Hill project area, and you can see that there are connections happening now. So we know that certain areas of the Red Hill project, which is a big project area, are connecting now. And this is the summary of how the rest of the things are going to work through.
Mike, for an individual going out to the RISE site and looking at that information, how do they know if they're in the Deca Lane project area or the Ivy Farms project area?
Well, the good news is the major map, I'm going to attempt to go back. Yeah, this map gives them a starting point. So this map, and just I wouldn't call this a pro tip, but it's if you right click on this map and open it in a new tab, that was a lot of mumbo jumbo, but on your mouse, if you right click on an image, you have an option that'll come up that says open in a new tab, then you get the full image. So in a sense, you get a view of where you are, right? The next thing, and I don't have this live, but the next thing that happens when you go to the Albemarle projects or the construction update, I think it's the Albemarle project site. Each of the projects has its own layer. And within those layers, there's communications and a map for each of the layers that are starting to be built. Now, not all of them have it, but if you go to the Appalachian Power Red Hill section of the Albemarle construction page, there's a link at the bottom that shows communications and a map of the area, which gives you an even better definition. Does that help? That was kind of a long, it's almost like I'm tempted to, I'll allow Dennis to describe it.
There's a couple of ways. So a resident can also go to our website to register or check their address. When they type in their address, you'll actually tell them what area they're in.
Ah,
Give
perfect.
their name.
Perfect.
So
Thanks,
when they
Dennis.
go through the registration process, it's going to tell them as well as the chevrons and the maps that Mike has talked about on
Yeah.
you go search by, you go to the project and search by county.
Yeah.
And it breaks it down.
I would demo this, but I'm a little new on.
No.
Yeah.
I was just an impromptu
Yeah.
question. There are like 8 people in my neighborhood who are convinced that they're going to be getting fiber soon. And I keep explaining to them, no, you're not. No, I got this thing from Firefly. And it's because they're in the same zip code as Dyke,
Oh,
but they're not in Dyke. And I know where the connection for our neighborhood's going to have to come in, and it's being fed by Dominion, and it just couldn't possibly be connected yet. So I want to be able to send them to the right place where they can look it up and find out for themselves that despite the fact they got a postcard or something, they should calm down.
Yeah.
And if not, I need them to get a little microwave transmitter so I can get them to beam that signal as far as me within the neighborhood, because I'd like to hook up too.
we're all anxious.
Anyway, thank you,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, okay. All right, moving forward. Okay, remember we talked about Red Hill. So it's a big area, 954 locations. Out of those, over 65%, 70% take rate. So far out of all of those, 100 have been connected. So that's really good numbers. And as we said before, things are going to continue through the next few months. So past the fall 2023, but definitely connections are currently happening. The railroad crossings that are scheduled for mid-December, and then the Route 29 crossing at Plank Road will be happening this weekend. Let's hope.
Yeah, hopefully. That's been rescheduled from last weekend to this weekend because due to traffic control, but we're trying to get it in.
Yeah, so. All right, on to Keene, which is an interesting part for one of our board members. you know, in about a month, everybody will start getting excited, but that's just the data collection. You know, that's just going through and checking out where you are and how far you will be from the serving switch, et cetera, et cetera. So look for those letters. Just to go back to the beginning of Albemarle County with the total passings in the project. So we're definitely working. Yep. Dennis, you want to add anything to this slide or?
The only other thing is we have released to our contractors to start the drops in the Standardsville Dike area, which most of that's in Greene County. Part of it does come into the northern part of Albemarle. Those should start potentially as early as next week, the actual drop connection. So, and that will continue on into, you know, into winter of 2023, 2024. So it takes a few months to get everybody connected when you have hundreds of people signed up and, you know, working through all of the different types of drop issues, especially when we're dealing with underground locates.
After they've been waiting, you know, many years in many cases, a few months doesn't sound so bad.
We're building as fast as we can, and building a little bit over 30 miles a week and still trying to connect about 200 a week. So
That's great. 200 a week. Wow, that's great.
Awesome project. So this was released last week at the TJPDC update. So the numbers just keep growing here. I mean, meaning things are moving along. This is for the entire
The
project.
entire project, not just Albemarle.
Right. So we've put this up every time. So the quarterly updates, the timing was this happened Thursday or Friday. So, you know, things are moving along. All right, that was it for 22, unless there's any questions for either me or Dennis. I'll move on.
one other note, when we do the data collection in Keene, we will be, some of the adjacent areas are part of the ARPA funding. They're right next to that area. We'll also be including that data collection. There'll be a separate letter based on that though, because the wording has to be a little different.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike, for the Monday 2022. You want to, I'm sorry, did you have something?
No,
else?
it's okay.
Did you want to take us through the BAAO?
Sure, I will, the best I can. So the first thing is the ACP Navigators. ACP Navigators, just a quick refresher on that. The Affordable Connectivity Program. We have been selected as a region that will bring in individuals that'll help people sign up for the program. We're still only about at 19% of the people who actually qualify for the Affordable Connectivity Program. So the FCC decided to put some money toward it, and we applied for a grant. Those folks will be starting soon. Actually, there's probably slides for each of these. Yeah, so there's 3 hired and they're going through training. We contacted Network to Work. I don't know if everyone's familiar with Network to Work, but they're an agency that help lower income and individuals find work. So they have good people who go out and sort of find those types of people and then bring them assets. So we've gone through and signed up, and we're now one of their partners, meaning if someone needs connectivity, where BAAO is the place that they go to get connectivity. So we're working with Network to Work very closely. We have a bunch of community events. We're attending the landlord symposium on Thursday. So that's multi-tenant units. Landlords, we have a big meeting with the housing department, but we'll be part of it, just helping the landlords know how can you work with your tenants to make sure that they can participate in the ACP and get some additional help on affording high-speed internet. Not to be confused with the ACP, there's a digital navigator pilot as well. So we'll be, and a digital navigator is something we all do. Someone calls us up and says, hey, can you help me figure out how to use my iPhone? Can you help me figure out how to use this tablet? This is the type of things that the digital navigator will be doing. Working with our partners, Java, Ting, Comcast, and the Center for Civic Innovation. We've got funding to help provide the training, as well as a couple of digital navigators who will work in the region, helping people understand how to best use technology. So I'm not taking Jason's thunder, and I'm not presenting as well as he would, but that's what's going on with the digital navigator pilot.
We'll tell him.
So this is the exciting thing that's happened. Everyone heard a lot about BEAD, and it sort of made its way through the summer. The Commonwealth did a great job getting everything lined up, and they put their volume 1 and volume 2. Those are basic procedures on how the BEAD grant money will be sent around. You know, we've explained before that the deployment funds within BEAD are to be applied for by the ISPs. So it's no longer a community goes in and applies for this funding, but we have to have a solid listing of unserved locations in order for those broadband providers to be able to apply for the funds. So the first step is to put the map out and have everyone comment on it. The really challenging part of that is that in the process of all of this, there's been people have put things in and taken things out, and then finally the map sort of got to a solid point, but it's still not at a solid point. So we're thinking, you know, the hope was by November 30th, we had a solid map that everyone could rely on, but there's still another couple months, and I'm predicting even more, to make sure that that map is solid. The other challenge we have, obviously, is that we've got all these projects going on. So what was unserved last week could certainly be pointed out as being served this week. You know, I'm not going to name any specific ISPs, but some ISPs put in locations that were served and then last minute decided to take them out. So now they've shown up in a later version as unserved. So there's been a lot of back and forth that has made this a little bit challenging, but the bottom line is we're going to get everybody going because of Firefly. I mean, our goal is with the ARPA grant and moving forward with Body 22, Albemarle County is going to be in a really good spot for making sure we've got everyone connected without having to request BEAD deployment funds, or if a competitive BSP, broadband service provider, applies for BEAD funding for an area that we think we're serving or Firefly will be serving, we'll have the ability to challenge it so that the money that's in BEAD doesn't go to a provider who's not going to provide service to that area. It's only fair. We've got to do this legally and the correct way. So we don't want to have double funded locations. So, as part of that, the work that the Broadband Authority did and the Board of Supervisors did to apply the ARPA grant funding to our project with Firefly, that's given them the case to do a challenge. So they put a challenge in that challenges many of the, well, 1,500, what is currently showing up as unserved on the map. So we've got a bunch of red dots on the BEAD map, and when you click on any of them, they show up as being challenged by Firefly. And now the next step is for DHCD to review them, and based on preliminary reviews, the challenge is going to be accepted, and those areas will be indicated as being served or funded at least. So at least they don't go out for additional funding. So hopefully that made sense. I think it did.
It did.
Yes, thank you. So we're working to do a process for letters of support to any BEAD proposals that come in. We don't think there will be many, if any. But that's something that's further down the line once we get through the 2 months on the rebuttal and determination. And just to give you an example, this map is a little bit difficult to navigate. It's connectingvirginia.com. And I think if you go to connectingvirginia.com, you'll see a direct access to the map. But this is the example. This is over at Red Hill Road and Old Lynchburg Road. That intersection there was a lot of unserved areas. We had submitted this for body 23. And because there wasn't a lot of funding in body 23, and there's not a lot of funding in body 24, it didn't get funded in body 23, but we're funding it with the ARPA grant. So everybody get that. That was the main reason why the Board of Supervisors and the Broadband Authority put their available ARPA funds into this project, because Firefly is going to be building this area as part of body 22. It only made sense that we capitalized, tough word, but it's the right word, and made sure that they were funded to do the work in this particular area.
I just want to call up that this website, despite the domain of connectingvirginia.com, is actually an official state website. It wasn't obvious to me, but it's Virginia not adhering to best practices of having a .gov domain.
Thank you. Yeah, so, it just shows you where it's marked as unserved, but it's challenged. So the second thing down in the green there, colorblind folks, I apologize, but there you are. It shows that they're challenged, and there's a lot of dots out there. So everybody understand? Hopefully, okay, good. I'm glad. All right. So that was it for 21 or 22. Why do I keep getting the BAO report?
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
That finishes up old business. Is there any new business? I have one other matter, and that is to call to the board's attention that this is the last time Supervisor Price will be among us as a board member, and I'd like the authority to thank her for her service for these years. It's been very much appreciated, a lot of hard work, hard time. I trust there's no objection to that.
No.
Then by a
No.
claim, let the minutes record that we thank her very much for her service. Thank you. Any other matters? Then perhaps a motion to adjourn would be in
So
order.
moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, we stand adjourned.
Excellent.
Thanks, folks. Have a good night.
Take care, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
All right.
You gotta do it with all your Wednesday nights now.
And Thursday nights and Tuesday nights.
It's like 700 days in